Hey, what's going on, guys? So for today's video, I wanted to talk about behavior, but more specifically manners and etiquette, which seems a bit off, but it's greatly lacking across the board nowadays. Now, this is starting from childhood, and I think a lot of it has to do with there being a staggering amount of single-parent households out there. So you may have one parent having to do the lion's share of the parenting, and on top of all their other duties they're responsible for, something's got to go, and they're not having the time to spend quality time with someone to teach them how to navigate themselves in a formal setting or even just social situations out there in a respectful manner. So people just grow up not really knowing this, and even little kids too kind of make it worse, because if one of them is being really polite and calling someone Mr. or Sir when they're addressing them, or Mrs., not sexist over here, but yeah, so when they're doing stuff like that, and the little kids are going to make fun of them for it, but that's just kind of out of those other kids not really having the home life where they'd understand this type of stuff. Because I'm going to give you an even better example now with people that are much older. So I've worked with many people over the years that they also lack manners and etiquette. And I work with one currently. He's a friend of mine, and he's very abrasive when he speaks, and he's saying motherfucker and all kinds of swears a lot, but he's not saying it, at least in his mind, out of an aggressive tone. That's just how he speaks, which is not good, by the way, because he'll say that's just how I speak when people get offended. But people constantly get offended with this guy, and he acts appalled when it happens. The problem with this is if you don't know someone and they come up to you and they're using a bunch of swear words and stuff and they're addressing you and all of this, you're immediately setting a bad precedent for the interaction. Because when you're being respectful, what you're doing is you're inviting a tone of respect between two people. If someone's already coming at you with the type of language that would be considered inappropriate, you're going to harbor some type of response that's not going to have like a favorable outcome for you. And I worked with another guy in the past where, we dealt with a lot of truckers. This is before I became a trucker, and I was always very polite to them. But this guy in particular, people would pull up and they're checking in, and it may even be their first time ever being there. And while they're trying to say hello and ask what they need to do, this guy would just cut them off immediately and say, put on a vest. And he would do that. And then some drivers would just not be having it because that's super disrespectful. And they start barking back at him. And he would be genuinely surprised that would happen. Now, if you cut someone off and make a demand in a very sharp tone, what do you think is going to happen? But apparently, this guy also just has no clue of why someone else would be offended by that. So, there. Well, this car just acted like it was going straight, so I jogged across the street and they turned left. So, all right. But anyway, yeah, so they're doing all this stuff. And now one might assume, based off of, the evidence I've just presented you, that these guys are just not self-aware. Well, knowing them personally, I'm going to disagree with that. I think they are self-aware with their behavior, but knowing these types of guys, it's them seeking out confrontations. They may not be consciously aware, but they're actively seeking out confrontations because they need to have an emotional upheaval every day. Anger is a pretty easy emotion to unlock and unleash, so people will often gravitate towards it so they don't have to experience the uncomfortable feelings of other moods that may be newer for them. So it's a big mess because they're very abrasive and they don't get along with a lot of people, and they cause constant problems everywhere they go. And how this relates to the gym with manners and etiquette is that there's an insurmountable, just disgusting amount of people nowadays that they have no clue what it is. Like if you, for example, here's two different scenarios for you. Here is the polite scenario. It's someone is using the machine you want to use. So you wait for them to finish their set, and you walk up to them and you say, excuse me, how many more do you have left? And then they might tell you a number, and if that number's a little high for you, you can then ask them, is it all right if I work in with you? Most of the time, if someone's not a dick, they're gonna say yeah. And obviously, you know, they're kind of not a dick if they say no, if they're squatting or leg pressing and have a ton of 45s on there, because that's just more inconvenient than efficient to be stripping all those plates off in between every set while you guys work in. So like, that's a caveat to that, but nevertheless, that's the polite scenario, which would be just, you know, being respectful, asking to work in. Most guys are going to say yeah, like 99% of guys, and the 1% that doesn't, they're assholes. But that's the first scenario you're faced with. The second scenario is you act like a lot of these Zoomers nowadays, and you just walk up to someone using a machine while they're in the middle of a set and just say, how many more, or something like that. And you immediately just set off a bad interaction, because that's super disrespectful. And a lot of the time, they're not even aware of why that is. But at the same time, they get annoyed at the same shit that they're doing to everyone else. So it's crazy, because like, there's a lot of things people are doing. So, and it's pretty simple. It's just respecting people's space, having good cleanliness with the weights, and just being friendly to other people. That's really how you have to govern being in a gym with manners and etiquette. And obviously the being polite, what comes into play with there is having consideration for other people, not being inconsiderate. So what that's going to look like is, if I go up to the dumbbell rack and I'm going to curl the 30s, I'm going to take 5 or 6 steps back so other people can have access to use the weights while I'm doing my set. And I'm not standing directly in front of the dumbbell rack, blocking off the fucking mirrors and being an asshole so everyone has to wait for me. So that's an example right there. You know, people are doing that, they're running the rack. Even if you're doing shrugs with like 100 pounds, you probably shouldn't be touching that if you can't walk 5 or 6 steps back. So not that big of a deal. And again, caveats with certain situations. Like if you're in a gym at 6 p.m. on a Thursday and every single bench is taken and there's like 20 people in front of the dumbbell rack, I would say, yeah, you know, you're definitely, don't stand in front of it, never. But another part of the etiquette there is people not getting in front of the mirror while you're doing a set and focusing on your form. So what that's going to look like is, like if I see someone, even if they're doing curls in the mirror, curls, dumbbell, shoulder press, anything like that, what I'm doing is I'm just waiting for them to finish their set and rack it. Because really, what's a set last? 15, 20 seconds? You really can't wait that long. So I just wait for them to finish, and then I go grab my shit. Because if I stand in front of them in the mirror, that's going to detract from their focus. And now I'm being inconsiderate to them. So I don't want to do that. But a caveat to that would be, if the gym is so disgustingly crowded that it's just unrealistic to do that, then yeah, just go be quick and grab your shit. But yeah, you know, there's give and take with these, and it's just common sense really, based on the scenario. And with the gym etiquette, like people are not, in general now, people are not putting any of their fucking plates back, which you would actually get kicked out of a private gym for that. So they're doing that. They remove cable attachments and just fucking plop them on the floor next to the cable rack. They're coming up and talking to people, asking them shit while they're in the middle of sets. They're coming up and interrupting people nonstop. They're grabbing plates off the side of a squat rack while you're squatting in it. Like, just really dumb shit that sets no tone of respect between you and another person. And they're so unaware of this. And really what the big thing here with manners and etiquette is, they're not the same thing. So manners, I would say more so comes directly from the household. And this would be social norms that kind of govern your behavior in social situations. Where etiquette differs is the etiquette is going to be the behavior you govern yourself with in a social, a formal social setting. So it'll be like if you went to a dinner party where you're in a suit, you're going to act different than if you just went to McDonald's. You're going to be a lot more presentable. You're going to have a ton of etiquette with your silverware and how you place a napkin on your lap. And you're doing all these things because that's what you do to be an upstanding, cultured citizen. Citizen's probably not the right word. Just like cultured, upstanding person. If you can't act appropriate in a formal setting, then you're going to really have trouble getting along with people, because you have to navigate a lot of these different situations in your life. Sometimes you're going to be in a business meeting. Sometimes you're going to be talking to someone on the corner on the street, and those different situations are going to govern not only the type of language you use out of your mouth, but how you're presenting yourself and carrying your body language. You want to exude confidence, but not be cocky, and really just show everyone that you are fully confident that you're able to make good decisions and follow through with what you said you would. That's really what you're trying to convey in formal settings, especially when you're trying to impress somebody. So that's how manners and etiquette really differs. So it's very clear that a lot of these kids, they're not growing up in households where manners are pushed on them, and manners foster etiquette, because if they already don't know the appropriate kind of behavior to have in different social situations, they're sure as fuck not going to know what to do in a formal one. And the gym, yes, it is a formal setting of sorts, because there are expectations to be met so that you can coexist with everyone else there, like putting your fucking weights back. It's not nice to go up to a dumbbell rack that's supposed to have 1 to 2 sets of dumbbells between 5 and 100 pounds, and there's like 2 dumbbells on the rack and the rest of them are scattered across the gym. You're greatly inconveniencing everyone else, and it wasn't one person that did that. It was a ton of people that did that. A ton of people that each used a set of dumbbells and fucking left them wherever, because there's that many people doing it. And if you can't have proper etiquette, you're going to be around someone that does, and they're not going to be short with their tongue to let you know you're being a fucking asshole. And this is how confrontations get started. There's a ton of confrontations in commercial gyms because people don't know how to fucking act. It's super simple. Everyone gets some respect. You know, if someone's disrespecting you, obviously that's different. But if you create that tone of respect, you shouldn't have problems in most situations. And then you're just going about your business thinking about how could you operate so that if you were the next person to come use something, or you were the person on the side while you're working out, you wouldn't feel bothered by the behavior. So I'm not standing in front of dumbbell racks with dumbbells like that. I'm putting my weights back so that a girl that might potentially use a leg press after me isn't having to take 20 45s off the fucking machine because I was an asshole. So you see how all this kind of works? And I wanted to, honestly, I made one video and I said I would make more, but it's really hard filming gym content for me. But I wanted to make a lot of videos on gym etiquette. I think it's very important. And really showing like a cartoonish example of what the bad etiquette is, because a lot of people are guilty of that. And it is, I think, an eye-opening thing when someone could open someone's eyes with a pretty dramatic take on their behavior. So I would like to aim to do that at some point, but there's a lot of them to cover. You know, even spotting someone, there's gym etiquette to that. And that's a little bit more complicated because different people might want different things. But that's a communication aspect of spotting. But there's a lot of nuance that goes into it based on the second-to-second response to the guy lifting the weights. You know, if I see someone in the moment they start struggling, I grip the fucking bar and barbell row it off of them when they're trying to bench press. I just ruined their set. I wasn't being helpful. So you could spot incorrectly like that and just really piss someone off, because you only have, think about this, how many sets with the max amount of strength and output do you have in you to do a bench press every day, or bench press once a week? You got 3 or 4 sets in you most of the time, 3 or 4 hard sets. If someone just ruined one of them, Now you didn't get what you wanted out of that set, and you're too tired to match that intensity to make up for it. So that'll piss someone off real bad if you spot them like an idiot. And it helps to really just ask questions and observe others. I'm not the biggest guy out there, but I am the biggest guy in most commercial gyms I go to. And some kids actually do, like, they see me putting my weights back and they see how I carry myself, and they start to scaffold their behavior after that. Others are aloof and they don't even notice, but there's not much to be said for that. I mean, we wouldn't be having this conversation if there weren't a bunch of people like that. So, you know, they're never going to watch this or open their eyes to it, so they can't do much about that. But you definitely could go to better gyms. If you have like a private facility nearby with nice equipment that might cost $20 or $30 more a month, just do it, man. Be honest here. You're going to have a better time lifting in there instead of the random shit crawling up your skin while you're in a commercial gym. So just go ahead, bro. Just fucking get the private membership. I don't have any around me, so I can't do that. But I go to 3 different commercial gyms around me, and I gym hop like a motherfucker. So I've lived here all my life, so I know which gym to go to at what time on what day, that I'll get the best workout and it'll have the least people that cause problems there. And I got 6, 7, 8 gyms I go to where I know where I could be on Monday, Tuesday, all the days of the week, to where I'm going to get the best workout for that muscle group and no one's going to fucking bother me. So I know where to be. But look how many gym memberships I need to gym change at that to be able to do this. Because if I have an LA Fitness and a CFX and an Export membership, I have access to all the different clubs that those companies provide. So we're talking about dozens of these that I can go to in my area. And so I have a lot of gyms I've gone to and have handpicked for which one I want to go to for each different muscle group. And I had to do that because I need to excel at this. I don't like training partners and I don't like crowded gyms. So I found a solution that works for me. Even my work schedule is molded around me being able to lift when I want. So I go to work noon to 8:30 at night. Now sometimes late, depending if something unforeseen happens, but I get off work at 8:30, I come home, eat, chill for an hour. I'm in the gym at 10 p.m. Not that many people there at 10 p.m. By the time 11 is hit and I'm well into my workout, there's even less people there. I get to take advantage of not a lot of people going at that time so that I can get the most out of my workout. And obviously, this comes at the expense of like social life and all that. Going to the gym at the times people would usually be socializing in an adult setting, especially on the weekends. But dude, I don't fucking care about that. And really, if you want to be good at this, you shouldn't either. Like, but I mean genuinely not care. Not feel like you're missing out. Not feel like it's hard because you're not getting to do fun things. Like, I genuinely don't care. Don't even consider it fun to go out like that. I like bodybuilding that much. If you can like bodybuilding that much, you're probably going to be pretty good at it. Especially, I don't think it's that hard to have better genes than me. So you really have an opportunity to be good at it. So you got to take advantage of the ones that come your way, you know? Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to this Scatterbrain video. Almost done with my cardio. I woke up 2 hours early this morning, and I was like, dude, as awake as I am, it would be a bad idea to start my day with this little sleep. So I went back to bed, and then I ended up waking up when my alarm went off, and I did one of those fucking dumbass moves where I turned off my snooze, but also closed my eyes again. So now I woke up 45 minutes after that. So I started my day 45 minutes late and had to get out here quick, because by the time I'm done with this right now, I'm gonna have 13 minutes to eat, get changed and be ready for work, and be at work, I should say. And I live 4 minutes away, but that's a lot to get done right now. So anyway, guys, not every day's perfect. Put in the hard work, get shit done. See you on the next one.